In this section of the course, we're going to look at ActionScript. ActionScript is made up of actions, or little bits of code or scripting, that we use to add interactivity or functionality to our Flash movies. In many ways, it's very similar to many other scripting languages. If you've used any of them, after a bit of familiarization, you should feel right at home. But if you haven't, don't despair, because Flash makes it very easy to get started. We can apply actions to three things: buttons, keyframes, and movie clips. We have most of the same actions available for each, but it's important to make that distinction because things will behave differently based on what actions are attached to. We also apply the actual ActionScript differently. For instance, we can have a stop action here in the last frame of the timeline, and to see this, we'll open the Actions panel. This will make this timeline hold at that frame instead of looping back to the beginning. Or we can apply a stop action to a button. But on the button, we have to write it a little differently because it depends on user input. In this case, the code would say on release, which for practical purposes means when the viewer clicks the button. Then the timeline stops. Now, for a bit of housekeeping. You may have noticed that many of my files contain a layer called Actions. I do this because it's a good idea to keep actions separated from the rest of your stage elements. It's kind of like working with sounds. Keep everything neat and tidy, and you'll avoid confusion later. So try to get into the habit of including at least one actions layer in all of your projects. If your scripting gets really complicated, you might even want to use more. It doesn't add anything to the file size of your exported presentations, so feel free to use as many as you like. Okay, to wrap up this lesson, there are literally hundreds of actions available for us to use in ActionScript. A complete examination of ActionScript in Flash would fill an entire VTC course or even group of courses, so we're not going to be able to cover it all here. But even this Flash Fundamentals course should give you a basic grounding in ActionScript. So, in the next few lessons, we're going to start off by learning the functions of the Actions panel. Then, as we work through the rest of this section of the course, you'll learn more about how to actually use ActionScript to create interactivity and control the various components of your Flash presentations. So, let's get started. Move on to the next lesson.